Co-laBo is a new residency program by Les Ballets de la Vie. Can you explain why Les Ballets started with this?
Les Ballets used to be a platform for different choreographers, and actually since a couple of years it became the structure supporting the work of Alain Platel as the only choreographer. I think he was really looking for ways to share the know-how that this organization has in producing, and wanted to share the infrastructure that Les Ballets has to support a new generation of makers or people. It doesn't need to be new, people who want to make their work. So I think for him it's really very important to find ways to share what this organization has acquired over the years, and the residency program is a way to do that.
Yes, so what are the conditions for a project to become a residency project?
Okay, let me start by saying that there's a lot of residency programs and in Flanders and internationally, and a lot of them sort of give you the key to the studio and leave you alone. That is not what Les Ballets is doing. So we are trying to include the whole organization within the residencies we are supporting. Which means that people also need to come with a certain question and need to come with, they must want this kind of exchange, right? Because not everybody wants that or needs that. That's the first thing. So it's really including the whole house, all the know-how that's there. That's one thing. The second thing is, I think we're really interested in collaborations. So we're not that interested in solos or in people working alone in a studio. Like, I meet many dancers who say, I would like to redefine my movement language because I've been working with choreographers for 10 years and I want to find out who I am. Can I use the studio? That's not a Co-laBo. It's called Co-laBo because we favor collaborations between people. And then the third and maybe the most important thing is that projects or makers have been able to convince other people than Les Ballets of the necessity of their projects. I'll try to explain because it may sound a bit abstract, but it's like, if you have convinced a producer or a presenter or a government to support you, meaning if you have subsidies, be it project subsidies or even provincial subsidies, it doesn't matter where they come from, but you've convinced people, other people than Les Ballets of your project, then we can invest our know-how in the project. This is, I think it's important because otherwise the investment, which is serious, it's a month studio and it's quite a big sum, a big amount of money, which you don't have to spend, but maximum you get 20,000 for a residency. It's a big investment, and we don't want the investment to get wasted, So we want the project we want a life for the project, not only after it's been produced, but already in a coalition of people supporting it. The other thing is we're not, which is good to know, is we're not co-producing. We're not considering ourselves as the co-producers of the project. Even though it's an amount of money that a lot of co-producers will not invest in a project, we don't want to be co-producers because we're not taking on any of those functions. We're not helping the project to tour, we're not finding a premiere for it, it's really a support in a creation process. Is that clear?
Yes.
Do you have?
It seems like the project that is there for application should be developed already quite a lot. It should be existing already.
It's not so much that it can exist already. It can, for instance, you have a lot of people these days who cut up their creation process in different phases. So maybe it's someone who has already done research, which is something we don't support. And then from the research he's advanced into a first step exploring material with dancers. He has asked a composer for a composition, etc., etc. But so maybe that's the case. But what we're not asking that people have already worked on it, but we're basically asking that people have built a coalition of support for their work. That's the main thing. So they have a producer, maybe, or a presenter, they have a premiere, and even better, some dates already. So it's not that you have already done things, but that you've worked to convince people of the necessity of your work.
Okay, if I would have a great idea, but it's still in the first phase, and I want to see if I can develop the idea, that's not enough.
That's not enough. That's not enough. I think there's enough other places who support that kind of first developments, and I think where we really can make a difference is because, you know, we have this great infrastructure like S3, the big studio on Ballets 3, which is so well equipped that you can actually finish a creation there. You can put up the lights, you can put a set, you can have, it's so big you could have a live orchestra in it. So, I mean, that's where we can make a difference. We have that studio and we have S18, which is on the other side of the city from Ballets. It's on the Nieuwe Vaart and it's smaller. It's less. It's more for the beginning phases of a creation. Whereas I think that's also the reason, because that's why we're looking for projects of a certain scale, really. You know, not necessarily duos or solos, or even we're really interested in work of a certain in ambitious work of a certain scale.
Okay, you talked about a kind of exchange. What is the exchange from Le Ballet to the project, or from the project to Le Ballet?
Yeah. I think the first exchange is, so you apply, which is there's no standard procedure, there's no formula to be filled. You actually just send an email and you send it to me, hildegard@lesballets.be. And then we internally we share that information, we discuss. You've been part of that selection committee, which shifts and changes. There's nothing official about it. So you just let us know what a project is. Then we try to find out when we're interested in a project, we have a talk. We talk. And then when we take it on, there's a lot of conversations about what is it you really need, what can we provide. Sometimes that can be a set, construction for a set, or it can be a composition, or it can be something very, very specific. But in any cases, it's an artistic conversation. It can be a conversation on all the technical aspects. It can be about communication. We can make a good, how do you say that? We can film the work and make a good trailer or a video, or I mean all those things that can be extremely useful in the creation. So that there's a big conversation about where is the investment really?
How can the team of Les Ballets be involved in? And then
that means also how can the team of Les Ballets be involved? In exchange, we ask that the production has one little line. We're not a co-producer, so we're not amongst the co-producers. We ask for one line which says developed in Co-laBo. That's all. And the other thing we ask is that every Friday during a creation, when people are in the studio, they open up the doors at 3 in the afternoon, and anyone who wants to come and see can come and see. That's where Les Ballets comes, the people of Les Ballets come to see, but it can be people of Casque or anyone. Sometimes we do formal feedback sessions, and most of the time we do informal feedback sessions. That's how it works.
Okay. In the beginning you told about Alain Platel and his wish to share the know-how of Les Ballets. Is he involved in a more intensive way?
Yeah. He's involved in the way that the whole organization is involved. Can be in the selection, but until now he didn't want that. But it's basically in the watching the showings on Friday, and then giving feedback. And the thing with Alain is he doesn't have to sit in a rehearsal for 5 days in a row, 5 hours, to be able to say what makes a real difference then for the production. He just needs to see things once, and then his feedback can really make a big difference. I've experienced it myself during the creation of Batke, so I know what I'm talking about. And it's so intense means, yeah, he takes his time when he's there to come and watch and give a feedback. That's what he does.
Okay. If I would have a project and I would want to apply, what about the timing?
We try to plan not too much in advance. We do now, for the moment, 5 of these Co-laBos a year. It can become more over the coming years. Our first ambition was 10, but I think that's over ambitious. So we might end up in a couple of years somewhere between 5 and 10. So it will always be a bit shifting, but 5, 6, 7, and then we try to decide. We try not to fill up like a year in advance. So we keep space and time to we decide, I think, more or less 3 months in advance, 2-3 months in advance. Sometimes faster, sometimes, I mean, but not a year in advance. Not a year in advance. I think, no.
Okay.
Until now. Yeah.
Okay. Who can apply for the residencies?
Who? Everyone. I don't think we're excluding any profiles, but of course we're interested, with the conditions I said, collaboration, a coalition around the work.
Is content
a certain ambition, a certain ambition. Is content important?
the content of your project?
I don't think so. Well, we're interested in physical work, obviously. We're not excluding language, but our first interest is in physical work. But not necessarily a certain style or a certain type of work, or it's very open. I'd say come and talk to us.